What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Yeah, I was gonna wear my Fire shirt, but I wore it like the other day, and it's in the wash. So I figured go with another team that's playing tonight that I love when they come around because of summer and everything.
Yeah, but this one's the more important.
It is the more important one. You're right. For those of you not watching on video, we're talking about the Philadelphia Phillies and then the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yes.
The latter being the more important ones.
The Flyers. I'm wearing Flyers.
Yeah.
Owen's wearing Phillies.
Yes.
But as I posted on Threads earlier today, if you get live reactions from us in this episode, if you hear like, oh, they scored. I mean, we sometimes do that, but there might be more than normal today because this game is very important. So
Yeah.
very.
Also, Kyle does that all the time in Underground Sports episodes, but that makes sense because it's Underground Sports. But
Yeah.
when he's watching a game as they're recording, that's what he does. But
Yeah. Give live reaction.
regardless, welcome everyone. Welcome
Hello.
to episode 56 of F1 Underground. As always, my name is Owen. That is my sister Casey. If you're new to joining us,
If you're a regular watcher, then there's a new backdrop.
yes, new backdrop. Casey officially bought a desk for her apartment and is no longer sitting on the couch with her glass side table stacked on her coffee table. It's a little insider knowledge for anybody who's seen our previous episodes of how Casey used to record.
Now I can leave my computer here, my mic here, so I can just plug and go. Yeah,
she's got it all set up now. But yeah, welcome. Shout out to Amazon. Welcome. Like I said, episode number 56. Today we're going to do our normal. We're going to start with meme of the week. We're going to talk about China. We're going to do a China preview. We have the return of Pints Pitstops and a return of an actual beer for Owen this time around.
He's not just drinking water.
And then we're also going to do.
I have a poppy today. We should compare our. I mean, you need practice, but we should compare. Like, I'll pop it open.
We don't even know if my microphone's going to pick it up. The
True.
fucking thing. I'm just,
True.
But what else was I going to say? Oh, we have History with Owen coming back today. We are back with that, so we will. Can kind of just jump right into it with our meme of the week. If you want to, you get us started, Case?
Yes, and mine's not really a meme, but if you follow us on Threads, I posted these earlier. F1 also posted these. They made like traditional Chinese fans for each of the teams, and they are some of the coolest things I've ever seen.
This is
okay,
awesome.
I can swipe through. Yeah, so this, and they each have the little logo like right in the corner. So this is the Williams one. Beautiful. This one would be one of my favorites.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Ferrari, obviously. Easy. You don't even need to see the logo to know that's Ferrari. What else? This one is Aston Martin. It's really hard to see. It took me a while to figure out what this one was, but the Aston Martin symbol's really, really small. But the tree, it's pretty. Yeah, I do. This one is also one of my favorites. I don't know why. It's just simple, but I like it. Oh, I went too far. This is McLaren, obviously.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the cool koi fish, the orange koi fish.
Yeah. This is Haas, which I love this one because I just the flowers look like cherry blossoms. Yeah, this one's
that's very cool.
This is Sauber or Kick. It's different because it's the only one that's like they went full black and like the bright green. So it's the only one that's fully black. So it stands out a lot. And then this one is Alpine, which is really cool. Like the mountains and stuff. I like that one.
I do like that.
And then this one is Mercedes, which the peacock was interesting, but it's It's cool. I like the peacock.
It's too. I don't know why, but it makes sense.
It fits. And then this one is Racing Bulls V-carb with like the different weights.
Very easy, but very simple. But I like it.
Simple. And then this one, obviously, Red Bull.
That's fucking cool.
I like how they did Red Bull in the Ferrari. They just stuck with the animal because they have one and it works.
It makes so much sense. Why would you not stick with it? I think my favorite's Ferraris. I gotta say.
You like Ferraris?
I think, the horse and the red horse too. I also really enjoy the contrast between like white and red, and when it's paired together really well, it looks very, very good. So I do really enjoy that. So yeah, I would have to say Ferrari is my favorite one out of that.
I wish they could like make them and sell them because that could make some like sick like wall art. Like imagine you just had all the fans hung up on like put it all on that wall right there. That would be so cool.
You would see that in every single spectator's hand at the race. That would be an instant buy for anybody going to the race.
No, it was really cool.
Very cool.
I literally had people right away as soon as I posted. Yeah, F1 posted them.
Good work, F1.
But people right away were like, "Are they selling them? Do you know if they're selling them? Are they selling them?" I was like, "No, but they should."
They should.
Yeah,
I would order that. That'd be fucking sweet.
It'd be cool
hanging somewhere.
Yeah, display. It'd be so cool.
It'd be sweet if you had like two of them side by side, kind of like this, like on a wall, hanging there, and you can have like I would probably get like Ferrari and Mercedes or McLaren, and just have them like side by side like that. That would look really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, F1, if you're listening, first of all, hi. Second of all,
yes, hello there.
Second of all, sell them. Okay, are you ready? What did she do? Sorry, everyone. Our family group chat.
Here's my Google search.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Okay, your turn.
My turn. Sorry, hold on. I'm opening my window too. Oh God,
it's so nice out
here already. I just literally opened the Formula Tank and saw this, and it's big ass. And it just says 0 points, 0 Q2 entries, 0 overtakes, 0 lead lap finishes, 166 laps completed. And on the bottom it says that's why he's the GOAT. And I just hear the video of the guy on the like screaming in my head. It's not so good, but I just thought it was funny. I'm doing it no justice by explaining it, but if you have seen that before and you know what it's from, you'll hear that in your head like the moment you read it, and it makes it 10 times funnier. I'm not doing it any justice, but that's my mean.
No, I like it. That's a good one. I mean, it's also pretty sad that he has no points.
He has no points.
When what's his name? Ollie Bierman has more points than he does. So if I was him, I would just be like, I gotta pack it up and go.
You still gotta give the round of applause to Ollie on that one.
Yeah. Still, literally. I think about that race all the time and how that's when I was in Florida, so I couldn't like appreciate it because I was trying to watch like during like in the IndyCar paddock, and I couldn't like appreciate it. So when I remember I got home and watched it, I literally was like, look at that kid go.
It was such a good race. So much fun to watch for him.
Such a good one. But yes, that was our meme of the weeks. Meme of the weeks. Now there's other news, but I just want to, I think there is other news, but let me just.
Did we talk last week about Fernando?
No, because I think it happened after we recorded.
All right, but we can just quickly.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Quickly cover it.
The man's not leaving.
The man's not leaving. He's here to stay.
Insert that Wolf of Wall Street scene.
I'm not fucking leaving. So if you're living under the F1 rock, Fernando Alonso signed a new multi-year contract with Aston Martin to stay. It's funny, all the articles I've read about this, I've read a few, including Mark's articles about the signing and everything. Every single one of them will briefly cover the signing for Fernando and then immediately go into talking about Carlos Sainz. and how that's another door shut for Carlos Sainz going into next year. So, yeah. So Fernando Alonso signed a multi-year agreement with Aston Martin to stay on as a team. All we know right now is that it's multi-year. We don't know any of the specifics. Casey, you had mentioned also that it was kind of what Lewis was looking for with Mercedes in terms it was like a multi-year, and then once he's done, he stays on as some ambassador or some role on the team.
Yeah, like as an that's what I saw. I forget which article I saw it in. Also, can you turn your mic down a teeny bit? You're sometimes a little muffled. Yes, I saw it on. I can't remember which article, but I saw that apparently because you don't really ever know their true length of their new contracts and stuff. So you don't ever. You don't. That's much better. Thank you. You don't ever actually know. It sounded like you were literally like leaning up against the mic and like.
I wasn't sure if I turned it the right way or not.
No, you're good. That sounds much better.
It's going to be really loud.
No. But yeah, so apparently he can once he would retire, he can stay on as like a ambassador and stuff with Aston Martin, which I think is a genius move for Lawrence Stroll to have him on in some form of aspect like that. So yeah, that's what like I said, I can't remember exactly what article it was, but
no, I mean, I think I agree with you. I think it's a genius move to keep a veteran and legendary driver like that on your payroll and also as an ambassador for your team, Yeah, I think it's a great move. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it because like we said, we don't know how many years it is. I wonder if it's almost like open-ended because Fernando's retirement might be coming.
Oh, yeah, I just went back. He literally announced it 4 days ago, so it was after we recorded.
Yeah, so right now it's just all we know is multi-year. I did enjoy his video that he posted about it because it gave Sebastian Vettel vibes of
which is just an empty chair. Why he did it.
100%, yeah. But it's just an empty chair, and then he sits down and he like walks up to it and sits down, lets out this like big sigh, and he's just like, I'm here to stay. And it's like,
no, but the best is he doesn't even, you don't hear anything.
Oh, yeah.
There's no sound. He's just talking. And then, but did you see the press release from Aston Martin?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's like Aston Martin's like letterhead, all their sponsors at the bottom, and it just says, I'm here to stay. Fernando Alonso.
I love it.
Because at first I was like, please tell me this is true. Like I thought someone made it as a joke, but then they posted that on their socials, and I was like, this is literally the best thing. I was like, Aston Martin's social media game is top tier. The stuff they put out in general, and then like they do have their funny stuff.
Yeah, their social media team is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that's kind of it. Just a brief cover of it.
Yeah, of his contract. Yeah, like I said, it did happen after we recorded last week. So, like always, news breaks once we hit end recording.
Definitely.
Other piece of news: 2025 schedule was released last week.
Yes.
Everything looks pretty much the same. There is some differences. Australia is back to the first race of the season.
That's what I was just about to say. We're starting in Australia. And
they deserve it. No hate to any other country. Those Australian fans deserve to be the first race of the season because they're so enthusiastic. Like that is the perfect place to start a season. The hype is big. Like it just makes sense. Like your stands are packed from FP1 through the end of the race. So I liked it. They get it back. And then the other two notable changes are Bahrain and Jeddah are like the second half of April, but I think that's also to help with so it'll be like this time next year we'll have Bahrain and Jeddah, but I think it's also to help because Ramadan will be over. So those races will be back to Sunday. Because the only Saturday race is Vegas, which is later on. Sorry.
You beat me to it. That's what I was going to say, too. Yes, so Vegas is the only Saturday race, which is fun to see. It's Vegas. It's nothing like crazy, but yeah, I'm happy. I like seeing Australia back into it. The other thing I was reading, too, is that apparently some of these schedule changes were to kind of move the schedule into like this like regional blocking kind of schedule where they're over in like Eastern countries. Because I think it goes Australia and then they go right to Japan and then China.
No, you're mix up. You literally just switch Japan and China. So it goes Australia, China, Japan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia. So they're like they are over in that like hemisphere or whatever.
Yeah, they're making it a bit more sustainable, or I guess a little bit better for the flying and everything, for all the travel and whatnot. Yeah, which is cool seeing them make the effort and everything. And
I mean, they still go from Jeddah to the next race is Miami, to the next race is Imola. So
that's fair. Yeah. Listen, we took some steps. We're getting there. We're getting there. But
listen, they released their. This is literally the other piece of news that came out today. It's from 2022 though. They released like their carbon footprint and whatever. They're on the right track. They are on the right track. I have to go through and read it more. It like literally came out right before I left for work, so I didn't get to read a bunch of it. But they're getting there. 2023 data is still being looked at, but yeah, they're getting there. But yeah, so I'm happy for Australia. They deserve that first race of the season, like I said. Let me just keep going up because there was some other stuff. I just didn't put it on the list now that I'm thinking about it.
This is great. The listeners are surely gonna love this one.
No, I'm back up to the top. Before I get into that, there was oh my god, I had the perfect meme. I'm gonna show it.
I was gonna say, this is our show. We can show it.
This is the perfect meme. Ferrari 2025, everyone. Leo Leclerc and Roscoe Hamilton.
Yeah. That is true. Leo is so tiny.
So freaking cute. Look at the puppy.
He looks like a goddamn ant.
Compared to Roscoe. Leo is literally Roscoe's leg.
Roscoe looks like the school bully that runs the yard and is but is secretly also just a
teddy bear.
A teddy bear, and then Leo comes on and he just feels for Leo and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." That's what that situation's feeling like.
I like it though. Also, this is IndyCar news, but this weekend they're back in Long Beach, California, so we get to watch a late Sunday afternoon race after sleeping off China.
Oh yeah.
So this week they're introducing a updated and lightweight arrow screen that will be a mandatory equipment on all the Indy cars for road and street courses. They already have them, but this one just is different. The lighter screen debuting this weekend features vents for increased overall driver cooling and a top front duct directing air to the driver's chest. So that's cool. There's to be able to give them some better airflow.
I like that, yeah.
The only thing is apparently can cause some downforce or reduce some downforce, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, this will be introduced this weekend, and then we'll continue on for the rest of the season. It is interesting that I do like that IndyCar has, because the halo of an IndyCar car looks like an F1 car, but then they just have the screen going.
They have the screen in front, yeah. Is that plexiglass or is it is it?
Let me see if that.
Because it's gotta be. Well, plexiglass might be too heavy, so it might just be just plastic.
Yeah,
but
let me see.
A durable, probably very well tested plastic to cover them.
It's a safety device. No, that's not what I need. Doesn't say. Let me see. What is the?
Oh no! Don't play music, HomePod. Don't do that. Nobody else needs to know my music taste.
A polycarbonate windscreen. Sorry. attached
polycarbonate.
Attached to a titanium frame.
Wow.
It's designed by Red Bull Advanced Technologies. That's what I was going to say. It's so interesting, and I think great that they have this arrow screen.
Yeah,
Because
it definitely is very interesting. That was like the first thing when we'd started paying more attention to F1 and getting into it and everything, and then I started seeing more IndyCar stuff. That was like the first thing that threw me off. Was like, oh, they have like a window on the car. You know, very interesting.
It is nice because I feel like because you always have like F1 drivers saying like when the drivers like remove the rip off from their helmets, it gets like caught in, like it can get caught on them. Or I mean, in the Braun GP documentary, saw that part like flew off and hit Felipe Massa in the head. So I just feel like I do like the arrow screen. It would be interesting to see how they could integrate it with F1. I know what you're laughing at. But yeah, will be interesting to see. But okay, question. Schedule of show. Do you want to do History with Owen before Pints and Pit Stops, or Pints and Pit Stops before History with Owen? Race
We're
recap.
gonna do Pints and Pit Stops before History with Owen, because
so I can
there
do
are some histories. There are some answers to Pints and Pit Stops in History with Owen.
Okay. Oh, great. Yes. I'm not gonna know anything.
No, I think you're gonna be good at this, and I'll tell you why when we get there. But I think you'll be okay at this one.
Okay. Well, I asked because I need to pitch ourselves, but if you're sleeping under a rock and if you don't follow us on Threads, if you don't follow us on Instagram, Charles Leclerc launched his gelato ice cream brand this past week called LEC, LEC.
LEC.
Yes, which is his initials, but then I think the word in Italian for lick also starts with LEC. That I've seen.
I can tell you.
Okay. But yes, gelato. Let me pull up the website.
Yes.
Thank you. I thought I was right.
Lick translated to Italian is leccata.
Yeah.
So it's LECCATA. I probably also just butchered that pronunciation.
I mean, we're Italian, but we don't speak Italian. Are you speaking?
Oh, no, I did okay. I did okay, actually. I just had Google say it to me.
Yeah, but I like how we can't hear it.
What do you mean? That you can't hear Google speak it back to me?
Yeah. Like, I thought you would hear it. But I can't hear the videos, like, if I ever have a video as my meme of the week.
Yeah.
But yes, there are 5 flavors. It's also under 400 calories up for a pint of this ice cream or gelato. And it's a good source of protein. I mean, Charles Leclerc has to be at the top of his game. Strict diet. But he says he loves gelato. So he wanted something that would crave that sweet tooth, but also that he could have it. So the flavors are, his favorite is vanilla. And he's like Taylor Swift, dropping these Easter eggs for months now. His photo shoot in the snow, eating the ice cream. And then when Threads did a Q&A with him, they asked him what his favorite ice cream flavor was. He said vanilla and set off World War like 4 on Threads because everyone was like, no, vanilla's not the best. He agreed. Left us on red.
First of all, everyone on Threads is wrong. But that's for another day and time.
Wait, because I think we're on the same page here.
About vanilla being not the best? Vanilla is the best.
Oh, we're on the wrong page. On different pages. I like vanilla, but vanilla's not my favorite ice cream flavor.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
So the first one is Vanilla Love. It's VANILLOVE. That's the first one.
Of course it is.
Yes. Salty caramel, but in true Charles Leclerc fashion, like his Instagram captions, when he has extra letters to different things, caramel is spelled with 3 M's. And I've heard it's a good salted caramel. Like if you like a salted caramel, that's what it is. Swirly pistachio. Like, yeah, I'm not a big pistachio fan.
Pistachio?
Yeah.
There are people who love pistachio ice cream. So, all right.
Peanut caramel tango, which that one's probably good.
That one does sound good.
Mom would probably like that one. And then chocolate crunch, which I also heard that one's good. And then when he did like press, he was like comparing chocolate crunch to Ferrari. It was the craziest thing, but like in true like Charles Leclerc fashion, it just made sense. Don't ask me why or how, but yeah, it made sense. But I'm hoping and praying it gets here sooner rather than later. But there was an article yesterday with the one founder that worked with Charles Leclerc saying the next place they want to launch is in France. And then within 5 years, come to the U.S. I am not waiting 5 years to try Charles Leclerc's ice cream.
5 years. That is, I mean, hey, 5 years is better than no years, but that's
true. But it's ice cream, which leads me to the next point. We're going into Pints and Pitstops, and I had a genius light bulb idea. So this Charles Leclerc, LEC, the people running LEC social media, because I'm going to tag you in this video.
I was gonna say we need to know the timestamp for this. So.
I have it. I told her I took a mental note. Our next segment is called Pints and Pitstops. Every week, if you're also new here, every week, well, not every week, but we like to
occasionally every week.
Owen will try a pint of beer, and then he will ask, or we will ask each other, or if we have a guest on, 5 questions. You have to answer them the fastest. Hence the pit stop. You have to get the fastest time. But instead of trying a pint of beer, we go try a pint of LEC ice cream or LEC gelato.
It is, when you had said this to me, and like I was initially my reaction to it was just like anger, because it was such a better use of the word pint for this segment idea, and I was like, fuck. It was like, why didn't I think of that? You know, and it's ice cream would be so much better for me to get, so much easier for me to get within new flavors, and then, or like new brands.
True, there's so many brands to try, and you go to the food store and get like so many different. There's literally so many to choose from.
Right, and I'm a 5-year-old child who likes like 3 foods, so I would only stick with like cookie dough ice cream. You know, so I would get different brands of cookie dough ice cream. But regardless, yeah, Charles Leclerc, LEC, whatever it is. If you see this, we would love to try some for this segment. We would love to get Charles for this segment.
Oh, as someone said, could you imagine what if you ended up getting him on for a part of the show? I said Owen would have to do the talking.
Listen, I could, definitely question him as fast as I can in a cool, calm, and collected manner.
Yeah, we can make it work.
100% do that, yeah.
I might need like 2 pints of beer to...
Yes, Casey will need about 5 full bottles of wine to even maybe like make a meep. Like,
I'll just say this.
Yeah.
I'll just be waving. But yeah, Pints and Pit Stops, sponsored by LEC, sounds pretty darn good. Or LEC, yeah. So
welcome to Pints and Pit Stops, brought to you by LEC.
Charles Leclerc.
It just flows.
No, it's so good. I just keep thinking, I was like, they could easily they could get the gelato here. But yeah, Pints and Pit Stops, sponsored by LEC, just sounds good. The dream. The new dream. Top of the list. Forget trying to go to a race. Top of the list is Charles Leclerc's gelato.
Trying to attend a race. Ice cream sponsorship. That's what that is.
Not just any ice cream sponsorship. Charles Leclerc's ice cream sponsorship. But yes.
Charles Leclerc ice cream sponsorship. You're right. Yes. You're right. Okay.
And I mean,
good work.
To Charles Leclerc, he said he wanted to open up an ice cream shop in Monaco, and they told him no. It was a bad idea. Charles Leclerc, the prince of your city, or prince of.
Why is he technically a Philadelphian?
Because.
How did I not know this?
His mother is Grace Kelly, who's Philadelphia born and raised.
No way. I never knew this.
Princess Grace is Grace Kelly, who, Prince Albert's mom is Grace Kelly of Philadelphia.
You're telling me that through his blood and his genealogy lineage,
he says, "Go
Bird." Charles Leclerc and said, "Hey, let's go get a whiz and hang out on the Schuylkill River."
Not Charles Leclerc, Prince Albert. Of Monaco. Oh my god, it'd be a bigger deal. I would make it a bigger deal. Charlotte Leclerc
This whole time
somehow was still. No, that's what I'm saying. But
Prince Albert of Monaco, he could absolutely walk up to him and be like, "Let's go get a whiz-wit," and he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm down."
Yeah, that's because it was
by
like
the crick.
Last year he was in Philadelphia, and I was like, I have to go. I have to go put a word in for him to get to Charlotte Leclerc. But yeah, they told him no, that an ice cream shop or gelato shop, not in Monaco. But I can tell you right here, Philadelphia would do pretty well.
That shit would fly. People would love that.
Yeah, we love our ice cream here. But yes, that was my Pints and Pit Stops pitch. I just took up 5 minutes, so I'm not posting that entire clip. But
Pints and Pit Stops will take 30 seconds. All right, yeah. So sorry, I'm switching over to the Flyers game now that the Phillies.
Do you want me to?
Now that it's like actually starting.
Pints and Pit Stops.
All right, so we're gonna try this together, or not. Casey just absolutely dicked me over right there.
No, I thought you said yours wasn't gonna work. I said not to do it at the same time.
We don't know if it's not gonna work, but we're gonna try it. So this is my beer this week. It is called King Julius. It is from Treehouse Brewing Company. This is up in New Hampshire. I had a coworker driving to Massachusetts, and he was telling me that their bread and butter is IPAs, and I'm a big IPA drinker. So I was like, "You're getting me some stuff." So in all fairness, I have had one of these already, so I know the taste of it and everything. So this isn't like a first time taste.
One sip, everybody knows the rules.
This is not one sip and everybody knows the rules, but from the name, it's got an orangey flavor to it. It is delicious. If anybody listening knows what the app Untapped is, it's essentially just like a big app for rating beers and everything. This has out of 5, this has like a 4.8 or something. Oh, wow. That. Like it's very good. And I actually had there's a King Julius and then there's a Julius, this is like a double IPA, and the Julius is just a single IPA. And I have to say, this is much better. I love the Julius, but this is much better. So we're gonna go for the crack, see if you guys can hear it.
No, it's dead silent. No, I don't know what's wrong with your mic.
That is so upsetting.
Our mics are the same brand, are they not?
Yeah. That's going to be a Google search, too. Why can't my mic pick up my beer opening?
It's definitely...
It's just so good. It's so... The flavor's so full, and it's so smooth.
I was like, is it a good, like, dead of heat summer beer on the beach? Or no?
No, because it's a double IPA, it's a little bit heavy as well.
What about the other one?
Yeah, I would say that one's also a little bit like too heavy for like the beach. Like I do think the undefeated beach beer would probably be a summer shandy or any form of like lemonade light drink.
No, I would think
this is good. But yeah, I wouldn't be like sitting on the beach and being like, give me a King Julius right now, because you would get really messed up between the alcohol percentage and the sun.
And the sun. Is it a good, you said like it has an orangey flavor. Would it be a good beer mimosa beer?
Yes.
You gotta think about that one.
The only issue I can see with that is, well, there's 2 issues actually. You would get again messed up because now you're just hiding 8.2% of alcohol per volume in orange juice now, and orange juice along with this beer, they're both just very heavy drinks, so it would be extremely heavy in your stomach. But yes, I do think so. But yes, delicious. If you live up towards that area and you've been there or know this place, let us know. It's great. Let me know if there's any other beers that I should try from there, just in case my coworker goes back. Hopefully it's a frequent
you're not
thing
driving
that
up
he
there.
goes. I would for this beer. This beer is delicious.
You can't buy it anywhere?
No, I don't think so. I haven't yet really looked into it, but I don't believe so. But yeah, now let's get on to
the pit stop.
Our pit stops portion. So we're going back to China this weekend. The last time we've been there was 2019.
Woo!
And the world, and also F1, as we'll go into later, was in a very different place in 2019. I mean, think about it. This is weird to say. 2019 was 5 years ago, which is
pre-pandemic, like weird.
Yeah, weird. So for Pints and Pit Stops today, and Casey, the reason I said you would probably be good at this because you said this stuff to me the other day.
Oh, okay.
All of my questions have to deal with top things in 2019.
Just in general or motorsport?
Just in general.
Okay. Oh, no.
So there's a couple things. There's two in here that I don't think you're going to get, but you may surprise me. So, like always, I will read you the first question, and then once I am done the question, I will start the timer. I will also say, I will read the question and then say go when I start the timer as well, just so you can see it as well. I need to turn this way too, because my notes are right there. All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. What song that featured Billy Ray Cyrus was at the top of the Billboard 100? Go.
Old Town Road.
What Marvel movie was the highest grossing movie of 2019?
Is it Infinity War?
What TV show was the most popular? It was Pop-Up's favorite.
Oh, Big Bang Theory.
What was the most popular video game?
Video game? Call of Duty.
What was the most watched F1 race?
Monza 2019. It probably didn't happen yet, but it definitely didn't happen yet. So I'm just
Okay. All right. So I also screwed up at the start. I tapped the timer before I said go. So I'm going to take a second off of your time. So your final time was a 27:38.
Okay.
Which is pretty good. Your time to beat was a 24:20. So a little bit slower, but you absolutely fucking killed it on the questions. Oh! You killed it. Yeah. So what song that featured Billy Ray Cyrus was at the top of the Billboard 100 in 2019? You are correct. That was Old Town Road with Lil Nas X. What Marvel movie was the highest grossing movie of 2019? It was not Infinity War, but it was Endgame. Infinity War was 2018.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Endgame came out before the pandemic. Okay.
Yeah. What TV show was the most popular? This is just a toss-up for you. I threw the hint about Pop-Up in because I knew there was no other way that you were going to get it.
No. That way I definitely got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Bang Theory. What was the most popular video game during that time? It was Call of Duty.
Okay, that was a good guess. I know there's like 25 billion Call of Duties, but I was sure though.
That was the first year they put out the remastered and redone Modern Warfare, which is like a hit from like the 2010s. So people were so happy that was coming out. And then what was the most watched F1 race? It was Monza.
Oh, Monza
was the most watched race in 2019. So good work.
So the China used to be later on in the season?
China did used to be later on the season. I can pull up the schedule.
That's what, because I'm thinking of what it is now. So that's why I was like, no, Monza hasn't happened yet now, but that makes sense. But that's when Charles Leclerc was. That's why.
China was the third race in the year. So China had already happened at this point. So it went Australia, Bahrain, China, Azerbaijan, Spanish GP, Monaco, Canadian, French, Austrian, British, German, Hungary, Belgian, Italian. So it was like round 10, 12, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why Monza was the most watched. You had a Ferrari winning in Monza.
3, 6, 9, 12, 14. It was round 14.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc was also the winner of that race.
In China?
Monza.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it was the most watched race, because you had a Ferrari driver winning, and he won Spa like the race before.
Yes, he won.
That's what you have. He won in Spa. He wins in Monza.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that was my Pints and Pit Stops. We should do something to make this a little bit better. For every answer you get right or something, you get like a second subtracted off of your time, or like a half a second. That might be good to bring the trivia kind of back have some weight to it. Might be a good idea. All right, jumping from that though, pints and pit stops to now. History with Owen. What the world / F1 was like in 2019, the last time that we raced in China. So I'm just going to go kind of the same thing you kind of just heard, but give like top 5 in each thing. So for music, the top 5 songs in 2019 were Old Town Road, Sunflower by Post Malone, Without Me by Halsey, Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, and Wow by Post Malone. So Post Malone's got 2 on there. That's good for him.
Well, isn't the Sunflower song from a Spider-Man?
That it is. It is from Into the Spider-Verse. Good movie. Great movie. For movies, I find this funny, and I want to see if you can figure out why it's funny. It'll be pretty easy, but number 1 was Endgame. Number 2 was The Lion King. It was a live-action remake of The Lion King.
Good movie.
Number 3 was Toy Story 4. Number 4 was Frozen 2.
Yeah.
And number 5 was Captain Marvel. Why is it
They're all
funny?
Disney movies.
They're all Disney movies. Because Disney owns everything.
Everything.
Disney will own our life at one point.
Wow, Frozen 2 was that low? I mean, it's not low, but that's Frozen 2 I like.
Think about the first 3 that you have going on there.
Yeah.
You have Endgame, which is the build-up of 20 years of storytelling across multiple movies. You have The Lion King, which is a remake of a major classic movie. How many times as kids did we watch that? So you have that whole market of people going and seeing that remake. And then Toy Story 4, again, you have a continuation of a story that people are love to see, even though I feel like every time I talk about Toy Story, people are like, oh, they should have ended it after the 3rd one.
No, Toy Story 4 wasn't the best one.
Toy Story, it was good, but it was definitely
Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending.
Yeah, because you had the whole ending with Andy and everything, and then you were good. It was just all right, let them rest, But yeah, and then you had Frozen 2, so makes sense.
You also know you want to know another. We're kind of going into streamer seasons here a little bit. Do you want to know another funny thing about 1 and 2?
What's that?
You're gonna be impressed when I know this. They both have to deal with Jon Favreau because he also produced Lion King.
He did, yes. He did also produce The Lion King. You're right. Good work.
Does he have? He didn't. I know he didn't do anything in. Did he do anything in Endgame? Or he's not in Endgame?
He has a small role at the end of Endgame.
But he's Marvel. He's Iron Man. So
after Tony dies, which spoilers if you haven't seen Endgame yet. I don't know why you haven't, but
we have 12 times more than that.
Yeah, he's right at the end of Endgame. He's got a pretty small role in it, but he is in it. Yes. So TV, top 5 TV shows. I've never heard of any of these except for one, so I don't know if you will. Number 1 was Fleabag.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Number 2 was Undone. Number 3 was Barry, which is the one that I've heard of.
Yeah.
Number 4 was Better Things, and then number 5 was One Day at a Time. That also, I will say, I took that information from Rotten Tomatoes. That was, I felt like a solid source to take it from. Yeah. So that's kind of how the world was at in
pop culture
2019. Yeah, pop culture wise, we did cross over into streamer season a little bit. But now we have what was different in the F1 world.
This is going to blow your mind.
In 2019. This is going to blow your mind. This is also courtesy of Paddock Passion.
Yeah.
They posted this, and it's honestly such a cool source of what was different.
Because so much has changed since then.
So much is different. Yeah. So first and foremost, and this is wild to say, Max did not have any world titles or any pole starts yet. He had 0 poles in 2019, which is weird, which is so weird to say.
Right, when you think about Charles Leclerc winning Spa and Monza, that sounds wild.
It's so weird. The first season of Drive to Survive just aired in 2019.
And you watched first season when it came out, didn't you?
I did. I binged it all in one day. I was sitting at my house at school, and Nick and I were bored, and we were just like, oh, hey, this looks like a cool show to watch. And then we burned 10 hours of our life.
And I can tell you, I think you came home one weekend for school. Sorry, not to interrupt. I think you came home from school one weekend and you were like, do you care if I like turn this race on? Nick and I just watched like this documentary about it on Netflix. And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that. I think it wasn't Thanksgiving weekend. I can't remember what it was for.
Was it Abu Dhabi?
No, I don't know. But yes, I came home and I was like, oh, I just watched this really cool show on Netflix. I kind of want to watch the races. Do you care if I turn it on? And people were like, no, we don't care. And I watched it and I was like, not really for me.
I wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't really fully into it. And then when I moved in with Nick to our Philadelphia apartment, he asked me one day, he's like, hey, you want to watch the F1 race with me? And from there was when I fell in love with it. Yeah. So yeah, the first season of Drive to Survive, it aired, which when you rewatch the first season too, or you even read the episode descriptions, it's a totally different world. It's entirely different. In 2019, Alex, Lando, and George Russell were all rookies. They were all starting their rookie
solid
seasons.
Rookies. Trail.
Yeah, which when I was reading this didn't sound so weird to me, but I think it's just because we had that karting video of them.
Yeah.
Where they did the 2019 rookies. So I was like,
they do an interview with the three of them every year because it's the three of them. They're still together. So they do. Yeah. It is a reoccurring theme, but that's a solid rookie class. So
yeah. The 1000th GP was hosted in China. Mm-hmm. Now, and when I read this earlier, I read it as China was holding their 1000th GP, but clearly that's not possible. So it was just F1's. It was that was before I had
dinosaurs.
So, yeah, that would be fucking awesome. Pulling some Flintstone shit, that'd be awesome. So the 1000th GP in F1 history was held in China. So pretty cool that it's kind of we're going back there. Speaking of Charles Leclerc, it was only his third race with Ferrari, and that's even weirder to think about, just because he seems so. Obviously, like we said, it's been 5 years since 2019, so it's obviously quite a while, but. Just thinking about him in that stage of his career is a little odd to think about, even though what happens. But regardless, Pierre Gasly drove for Red Bull, which I think is the funniest fucking thing.
And then Alex Albon would have driven for Red Bull.
And Alex Albon would have driven for Red Bull too. It's so weird.
So wild.
Rich Energy was the title sponsor for Haas, which is, again, I just don't even remember this. And I don't remember their black and gold race suits that they had with this sponsorship and everything. And it was just, you would show me the picture of it the other day. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, that's a weird feeling, but whatever.
Also, Haas, bring back the black and gold, because the black and gold is kind of nice.
Black and gold is nice. Fernando Alonso was pulling a Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
And was retired. He was taking a 2-year break from, F1 and said oh, I'm done and everything. But clearly that didn't stick. And is now here to stay.
For even longer.
And then finally, they're waving it off.
Don't tell me I'm behind. You can't do that.
Joke. What a joke. Get off the ice, rep. And finally, Robert Kubica, I believe I pronounced that right, was racing for Williams. So, like we're talking about, it is just, yes, it's 5 years ago. It's a very long time ago when you put it in that sense. But when you think about everything that happened with COVID and kind of how much of a blur the past couple of years have been with COVID, it's definitely feels so much sooner, recent than that. Yeah. And it's just wild to think about how different the world was, and how different the F1 world was. Sorry, I got a text from Timmy about the Flyers game. Okay. So, but going with that, we're going to jump a little farther back now. This is where kind of we get into the real history with Owen. In 2012, there was the Chinese GP, and it was Mercedes' first win of what is deemed the modern era. But more importantly, it was their first win since 1955.
That's wild.
Which is so, like, when you think about it, and I read an article, it's where I pulled all my information from. It's from motorsport.com.
Mm-hmm.
They had said, like, it was like the signal flare of like what was about to come from Red Bull.
Like the avalanche was starting or something.
Yes, somebody threw the first snowball and it was starting to roll. And it was, they went into this race and they had, sorry, I am struggling on their names.
Well, it's Nico Hulkenberg is one of, or Nico Rosberg is one of them.
Yes, thank you. It's Nico Rosberg and Michael Schumacher were their two drivers. Yeah. Sorry, gosh. So pretty much they were going into this race, right? And they were coming into this F1 calendar year stuck in fourth place behind McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Which is
this year.
Kind of literally the same story as this year, which is hilarious. And funny enough, I didn't piece these two pieces of information together, and I feel stupid, but this is also my, recency fan knowledge getting exposed. I did not know that Braun GP eventually turned into Mercedes.
Yeah.
I had no clue about that.
Oh, when I watched the doc, I went on a deep dive.
Yeah. So essentially, Mercedes had, well, I'm calling Mercedes for now. In the years that they were Braun GP, their team had been so depleted. And if you've watched the Braun GP, you know why. They were just cut funding. They were really struggling. All this stuff. They were so depleted and they were such a small team. And so when they came into their first year as Mercedes, their kind of main focus was growing back again as a team and everything. And now that they had more funding and whatnot, it was a little bit more solidified as a team. And there were three key moves that they made in order to do this and to make this first win since the 50s happened. And that was the hiring of three people. One was Bob Bell, who was the former team principal of Renault.
Okay.
The next was Aldo Costa, who is the former technical director of Ferrari. And then Jeff Willis, who is the former Red Bull technical director. So they kind of poached these three major players to basically be like, hey, we know you have veteran experience in terms of making a winning team. Make it happen for us. And those three were really big into the whole, sorry.
Tell me, because I'm behind, so you got to give me the update.
This is a long explanation from this race.
It's going to be waved off. He's giving a whole dissertation on the ice.
Yeah.
No goal.
I have no audio, so I don't know what
I saw him go like this.
Reasoning is.
No goal.
Timmy's text said Torts should get himself thrown out if that's not a goal. So yeah, going back into it. So these three key players. Sorry, everybody, for that random Philadelphia sports break.
I warned them already, so it's okay.
Yeah. Those three key players went into the development of the W03, which is their 2012 car. Sorry.
2024. Might work better in 2024.
Essentially, they went into this and kind of as a new team, you would expect them to. They struggled in the first two races of the season. Those races being Australia and Malaysia, which also I want to look up the track in Malaysia now and see what that's like.
I've seen pictures. I think that one's cool.
And essentially what this was is they really couldn't figure out the best race setup for the car. And they were struggling with the Pirelli tires because they were very vulnerable to temperature. So when the tires would get really hot, they would just get super depleted, super beat up real fast. And Mercedes was just really struggling to figure it out. So the article that I was reading was a great read, again, from motorsport.com. And essentially they were the strategists did their homework. And fun fact of this, one of those key strategists on this team at that time was one Mr. James Bowles.
He's been in F1 for so long.
Yeah. So, and they essentially were he just freaking threw the binder at the car and did all this research and everything and was huge into this moment. So just thought it was funny because you've seen that clip of Drive to Survive of him just breaking down everything. So it just fits his character so well.
I think he's actually a genius.
Yeah, I think he is too. So Mercedes just stayed up pretty much all night and just crunched, did their homework for the Chinese GP coming up. And in qualifying, it paid off. And they got a front row lockout. They had Nico Rosberg was in pole position and Michael Schumacher was in P2. So it was like this big moment. They were like, oh my God, like, cool. We did something right. You know, like we got it. They started the race. They were going in. Nico and Michael both jump out to a fair lead. And it was the gap was Nico was out of DRS range from Michael. But Michael was also kind of out of DRS range from the pack, the field behind them, which was great because it allowed them to kind of just both pull away and drive very cautiously for taking care of the tires and getting it all, you know, setting them up the best to last throughout the race. So it was awesome. Unfortunately, around lap 15-ish, Schumacher came in and he had a loose front right tire, so he did have to retire from the race. And it sucked, but as Motorsport pointed out, they were talking about was kind of nice because then all the strategy and thoughts and brain power on the Mercedes pit wall could go into managing one car that was currently in the lead. So they were like, terrible, but now
not the end of the world.
Kind of basically just like, we'll deal with that when we're done. Let's just focus on getting Nico to the end in P1. So it was this great battle, and Nico, now with Michael out behind him, was battling Jenson Button, and Jenson Button and him were doing this like back and forth battle of just like tire management and taking care of their cars and everything. And it was the way the article described it was really cool. I honestly want to go and watch. I
wonder if we can watch it.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. The F1 TV has like seasons all the way back to like the early 2000s.
Yeah, they have decent, but
so like I said, Jenson Button was right on Rosberg, and Jenson Button did a second stop before Rosberg did his. And what that meant was Button's tires were 11 laps younger than Nico Rosberg's. And Nico held on and everything, but when he went into his second stop, the gap between them was only 12.3 seconds. So it was coming out. It was a tight, very close-knit race, very tight race. And then stroke of luck kind of happened. I feel like it takes the
excitement or whatever
of the story out of it. But Button goes in for his third stop because he was a 3-stopper when he raced. And his third stop was really slow. He had about 6 seconds of stop time. So that really opened up the gap again to Nico and also put Jenson back in like the middle of the field again, which at that point just sealed the deal.
Yeah, it was Nico's race to lose.
Yeah. And like I said, Mercedes then went on to win the race. It's like this awesome big accomplishment for them of just like this massive win in the new modern era of F1. And like I said, it was just like the signal flare of just like, this is happening and we're not stopping anytime soon.
And there
you go. Like that's pretty much what it was. But it was so cool. It was very cool to like read about and learn about and everything. Again, my fan recency showing of like just not knowing that Braun had become Mercedes and everything, and knowing the history behind Braun makes me feel, and now knowing some more history behind Mercedes, I really, really enjoy. So it was, it was a great read and great article to talk about and whatnot.
Cool.
And yeah,
no, that's a cool one.
I
will definitely want to watch that one. That would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah,
that'd be a cool one. But yes, History with Owen. That was good. History with Owen. It was a good mix.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
Good pop culture. This is what F1 was like back in 2019, followed by a good race from China. But yes, China. It is our first sprint race of the weekend or of the season. And there are changes to the schedule. So I do have something to read off of it, but obviously the schedule for the weekend is Friday is free practice, sprint quali. Saturday, sprint race, qualifying. Sunday, Grand Prix. So, and as always, the sprint shootout is a little bit different. it's 12 minutes, 10, 8. I don't know if they still because remember how last year was like they had to use certain tires for each session?
Yes.
I'm not. I would think that's still in there, but because of this change, when they first announced it all, people were freaking out because God forbid you crash during the sprint race. What can you change for qualifying? Do you have parc fermé? Can you make changes? So you can. There are technically 2 parc fermés during sprint race weekends. It's between sprint quali to sprint and then qualifying the Grand Prix. So the teams can make setup changes between events and execute repairs without getting grid penalties. So you can, because I mean, past people were freaking out. They're like, God forbid someone bins it during the sprint race. Like, are they automatically starting P20 for the race because they can't fix the car that quick, or they're gonna get a grid penalty and stuff? So yeah, that's definitely the biggest change. And don't forget, we get the race following China is Miami, which is also a sprint race weekend. So
yeah, it's 2 quick sprint races.
Yeah.
I think that was a good catch on that, repairing the car and everything between the sprint race and whatnot. Because putting all the drivers and the teams in a real race situation right before qualifying, and I mean, we all know what can happen during anything can happen during a race.
Yeah.
Putting them in that situation of pretty much parc fermé between the sprint race and then qualifying would be absolutely brutal if that was the case. So yeah, that's good that they're God forbid something does happen, they're able to make the adjustments, they're able to make the car, and it's not your entire weekend is fucked now because of a crash or something during the sprint race, especially if it's like something that's like not your fault, like there's a crash behind you and you just kind of get caught in the in the mess or something, or like you get tapped by a car accidentally that's part of a collision or something. It's definitely, I like that. I like that they can do that.
I remember when
I'm excited
the changes first got made. I remember posting it and people were like, but what about like parc fermé? What happens? What about if someone like crashes, whatever? And I was like, I didn't even realize it because of how it was like lined up and stuff. So I was happy those things were pretty I think they were like confirmed or clarified pretty quickly after the changes were made, but it's just a good reminder going into this weekend because these changes were announced forever ago. Timing is obviously better for some parts of the country. It's a little in the middle of the night for us, so literally.
Yeah, baby.
It's the last one. I just keep telling myself that it's the last one until Vegas. That's like bad timing. So we can do it. But yes, predictions. Oh, I looked at weather. There is chance of rain for every day.
Is there?
Pretty much. Yeah. Sunday, I think it was like a 40%,
or is it just like a
40% chance of rain on Sunday at least. I don't remember about qualifying. But yeah.
Okay.
We also have some special helmets coming in. It's obviously Joe Granew's home race, finally.
Yeah.
His is inspired by the Chinese Metro, I think there's a better name for it, Metro system, and it's really cool. It has like the map of like all the lines and stuff and like the monuments.
It's so nice.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then Alex Albon, who always has good helmets, released his today, and it's a panda. It's really cute.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Please, it's a panda. There's the eyes. You know what it looks like? Remember the paper plates we used to eat off at Nanny's house?
The Zoop House.
Zoop House. Because like the eyes were like up top. It's so good.
Oh my god. Wait, I'm sharing my screen.
And the best is that they went to like the zoo or like a panda sanctuary and took pictures.
Yeah, look at good.
Yeah. I was taking
this is fantastic. You know what?
Wait, your screen's not sharing though.
What do you mean? I can see my screen.
I couldn't. It wasn't loading it.
It's
so good.
Alex Albon is a contender for best helmet. Of, like, always comes out with these awesome helmets, but will say is the king of the helmet reveals.
Oh, the pictures they do, like it's always so good, and Lily's always involved somehow.
Like, what is this?
It's so good.
And like you have, I love the black line in the back. That looks so good.
It's so perfect.
Yeah, that's a really good, but like they had like the golf ball helmet.
Yeah.
And it was
like on the golf course, like it looked like he was on the tee and Lily was ready to hit it. Yeah.
Yeah, the king of the helmet reveals. It has to go to Alex Albon.
Mm-hmm. I will give it. Him and Lando are very good at doing their photo shoots for the helmets. Very good. But yes, there's a chance of rain, but there was also a chance of rain for Suzuka, and it rained during FP2, and I
was gonna say, it was a little wet during FP2, and that was it. Yeah. Because there were only like 4 cars that got out or something for FP2, right?
Yeah, because there was like 4 or 5. I think I turned it on and did what I normally do, fell asleep and woke up as it ended. So there you go.
Very good.
Listen, I can't wait for Miami to have like a 2:00 in the afternoon qualify.
It's gonna be so nice.
Like I'm gonna do anything that weekend because race, I just want. No, it's like 3:30 in the afternoon race for Miami.
Oh, okay, that's even better.
What time did you say it was?
I thought it was 9 a.m. or something like that.
No, why would it be 9 a.m. in Miami?
I don't know. Just asking.
No, it's 3:30, 4:00 for us. But yes, so we'll get our track facts video out soon. Disclaimer: Owen hated driving this track.
I will say this during the video. I already written up like a little bit of the scripts, and I think literally the opening line is like, "Welcome to our track facts again for China." I fucking hate this place. Like,
okay, out. Boom.
That's why I wrote it, because I wanted to put like, I did not like driving this track at all, and it was really tough because I had come off of Japan. I had like recorded them right in a row, and I had a blast driving Japan, and then I went right into China, and that first turn, the first 2 or 3 turns, whatever it is.
I think it is 1, 2, and 3. It's like an S.
I mean, it's literally just like big hook and then right into it, and it's just like, I just did not enjoy that part of the track. And there is another turn after the one straight that it's just like it's a tight hairpin after the straight, and I would always miss the turn, and I was just like, I'm just not hitting this track well.
So I'll put on it when I post it on Instagram, so we don't get the gamer guys again. Be like, disclaimer: we're not professionals.
Disclaimer: a chair is also in my future.
Yeah,
a racing chair is also in my future.
But yes, so it's getting really dark behind me. I don't feel like turning around and turn the light on.
Yeah, it is dark behind you.
Or of a sun, just predictions. I want to say before we do podium predictions, I have a good feeling it's going to be a good weekend for Williams. You can quote me on that, but I have a good feeling.
I was going to ask you about this, and I was going to kind of phrase it in the way of like, what's one thing you want to see out of the race or something? And my answer, because one thing I want to see.
Hold on, I am turning my light on. It's way too dark.
I was going to say I want Williams to have a nice, clean race. And I think the reason I'm saying that is because I think Logan last week definitely struggled or got the like panic of like, holy shit, I need to perform, and then tried to be Max Verstappen. And I think for Logan performing, it's just don't break the car, finish the race. So that was what I was going to be like. That's what I'm looking for this weekend. It's just Williams to finish both cars across the line.
Yeah, I can also say I hope Zhou Guanyu has a clean race. If he can finish in the points, that'd be a bonus. But if he can just have a clean finish weekend, that's all I can ask for. Let him have a good home race.
I didn't realize this either. Can you hear that, by the way?
No.
Oh, good, because it is super loud. It's just a fire truck going right by us.
No, I can't hear it.
Yeah, to see him, I didn't know this either. It would be the first Chinese driver to score points in the Chinese GP, and that's just like, you can never imagine how it feels, but if you can put yourself in the shoes of that happening for like 5 seconds, like that would just be so cool to see, and just so cool for Joe. Just like I'm the first driver from this nation to score points, even if it's 10th, even if it's just a point.
But still, just let him have
points.
Yeah. I also hope Yuki continues on his streak.
Yeah.
And if Daniel Ricciardo has another bad weekend, what is to follow? Mark's article about this is really good because it does put in perspective, because they did say, like, if you didn't have 2 clean weekends in Japan and China, could you imagine? The man is more American than some Americans. If they kick him to the curb before Miami.
I just, like, I don't want to say that I've given up hope on Daniel, but I kind of have. And especially after this weekend, if he doesn't perform well, I definitely have. And I hate saying that, but it's just, it's just not good.
I think I have. Yeah, but let's hope. Okay. Podium predictions. 1 through 4 since
1 through 4. All right, I'm gonna go Max, Checo. Max, Checo, Charles, Fernando Alonso.
Oh.
That's what I'm going with. I think the Carlos Sainz hot streak is going to simmer down a little bit. Now, I do think, if you want me to extend on it a little bit, I think Carlos Sainz is going to finish right behind Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
I don't, he won't be far off, but I do think that Charles is kind of looking for a day to step up, and I think this could be it. And I also think that Fernando, coming hot off the new contract signing and everything, is going into it with the mindset of, like, I want to show that Aston Martin that they weren't wrong. Not that I think Aston Martin
they're
is
not wrong, but
not that I'm saying, like, Aston Martin is like, we took a risky bet with this driver, but to get a new contract signing for multi-year, and then that whatever that ambassador role is at the end, you want to go in as a driver and be like, I want to prove to you guys that, you were right to have your faith in me, all this stuff. So I do think Max, Checo, Charles, Fernando. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay. I'm going to do Max.
I don't think it's going to be a good weekend for McLaren.
No, it's definitely not.
It's not going to be a good weekend. A lot of slow corners in this track, and honestly, a lot of straight line speed that they are just not good at.
They don't have it at the moment. I also don't think it's going to be a good weekend for Mercedes. I don't think it's going to be. But yeah, okay. Max. I'm going to put Charles P2 because he said at ice cream events or gelato events this past weekend that he was in the sim for 3 days basically straight because he's working on that quali. He's working on that quali issue, and he said it's the first time in his career he's ever had to work on quali. So I'm expecting him, to drop us a decent. I could see him getting pole. If not pole, he's P2 right behind Max by like a 10th, like very, very close.
Okay.
And he needs to shut up a lot of haters. I mean, Fred did that this past week as well on some French radio and everything. But yeah, I think he needs to shut up some haters. So Max, Charles, I'll go Checo. I'll go Carlos. I'll do Red Bull, Ferrari. Max, Charles, Checo, Carlos. Yeah. I
mean, with the way the past 4 rounds have gone, you mean that's an entirely feasible result.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By my most, like, non-delusional podium.
Yeah.
It actually happened.
Listen, I do think that Ferrari is putting pressure on Red Bull this year. Definitely more than they did last year. But
where they started last year to where they've started this year, it's totally different.
Oh yeah. I just think that barring, again, like we saw in Australia, barring any technical issues with Max, you're not beating Max. So it's definitely Max unless he spins out, something goes wrong with the car, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be, like I said, the drivers haven't been here in 5 years. They don't know what to expect from the. Go ahead.
I saw it's like Logan, Oscar, Joe, Yuki. Is there someone else that I've never driven here? No, maybe it's just those 4. Logan,
Oscar, Joe,
Yuki.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Because Alex was a rookie in 20. I was going to say Alex, but he was a rookie in 2019. So yeah, those 4. So there's a decent amount that haven't driven here before, but also maybe Yuki and Joe have the most experience. I'm sure they've done like tests and stuff on that track before at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not alone. I mean, and they haven't been there back, and it's a tricky. I mean, that first whole little combination is. We are definitely getting a yellow flag in that first race start.
And it's a decent. It's from the starting line, from your flat start. It's a decent amount of time before you hit that turn, in which they can build up a good amount of speed. Unless like the field like silently and unanimously decides like, hey, we're just gonna kind of cruise going into that. But like that's not gonna happen.
No.
It's definitely. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a safe bet at some point going into the race this weekend, especially with that first turn and the slow hairpin turns that we have on this field, that there will be a safety car this weekend at some point.
Yeah, but I'm not like last year with the long straights. Everyone was like Red Bull was the only one that was good at the long straights. It was literally like a runway. You were expecting them to literally. Red Bull gives you wings and take off and fly away. But like Ferrari doesn't look bad on the long straights.
No.
So Aston Martin doesn't either. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who. But yeah, I don't expect a good weekend from McLaren and Mercedes, which sucks. But also because the fight is going to be between those two, could make it closer. So
yeah. Going into this weekend, as a McLaren fan, my goal this weekend is to literally see them survive Mercedes right now. If you can finish kind of like how you did last week, where it was like one Mercedes was in front of one of your drivers, okay, cool. You guys got decent points. The gap may have closed a little bit, but not as much. If at least one Mercedes driver finishes ahead of both Lando and Oscar, that's an issue. I think is an issue. And I don't know if that's an overreaction just because of the point spread, but we kind of talked about it last week where it was like, if you got a second or a third place for Mercedes, like you're right back into that fight in one race. Now again, I don't think it's going to be a good weekend for either of them, but who knows what's going to happen?
And think about it. The next 2 races is you have multiple opportunities for points with the sprint. So
yeah, it's
how long is the sprint race? I wonder.
The race itself is 58 laps, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So the sprint is 24, 25?
It's never half.
I thought it was half. Or is it like a weird, like...
It's not coming up.
I might be able to tell you... Oh, wait, this is Japan, not China.
Let me see.
Yeah, it doesn't say, actually. Yeah. Well, regardless, yes, it is definitely a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for points with both sprint qualifying, regular qualifying, and then sprint and race. But like I said, as a McLaren fan, my hope and want for this weekend is just to survive Mercedes and minimize as best as possible the damage that Mercedes can do into your lead. That's it. If any sort of DNF or retirement from McLaren boys, it's just going to be so painful.
Yeah.
But let's pray that doesn't happen. Let's pray that whatever safety car comes out, it isn't in response to them. So
no, I like it. Anything else? I can close this out since you opened this up.
Close this out.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for episode 56 of F1 Underground.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
You're like, well, thank you.
Wait, can you literally the light is so bright. I feel like
It's
I have
so
to
bright.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Episode 56. We will be back next week to recap China. We will also be able to recap our trip to DC for the Red Bull show run, which will be fun. Owen finally gets to see an F1 car or some motorsport car on the street. So I'm sure he'll have a lot of fun.
I'm gonna love it.
Hopefully get to see some friends from Threads there as well. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. Our socials have been scrolling at the bottom the entire time. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at Underground F1, and then over on Twitter at Underground_F1. Please like, comment, subscribe. It's on any platform that you listen to the podcast. It's helpful for us. The reviews are always helpful. Leaving the stars is always helpful. But yes, we will be. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week. And enjoy China. Thank you.